Hello, Patreon members. I feel like it's been a while. I apologize for that. It's been a really crazy winter, and I've just had so much on my plate. But I wanted to get back with you guys and start putting a little bit more material on to Patreon for my paid members. We're working today on this piece. Now, I'm not sure who is following me on YouTube, but this is basically a finished piece. And I actually have, it's a 4-part series, 4-part tutorial on how to construct and draw a round spiral knot. On YouTube and for the free members on Patreon, I have the first 4 videos, which are just the basic tutorial videos. And on those videos, I walked you guys through how to draw the concentric circles to set up the round border in the first place. And then we divided the circle into equal parts. I think it was 64 sections. And then we put in our dots to make the grid. Then we put in our break lines, which were these red Z's and these red L break lines. And then we marked our diagonal for the spiral, and then we drew in our simple rough outlines for our spiral knots. In the last video, I did this section of this circle, well, mainly just this section for YouTube. And I wanted to continue that process for the whole thing. So I wanted to continue this process and finish it. And then I wanted to add on like a border, and then I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about a little bit about texture. I want to give you a couple of resources, a few tips that might be useful to you, that kind of stuff. So hopefully this is going to be something you guys enjoy. I'm going to try and throw in a bunch of stuff, and then I would really appreciate some feedback. So if you can let me know in the chat. I started a chat room for you guys for Patreon. I think I just called it chat room. So you can go in there and you can have conversations with me, conversations with other members. I really encourage you to do that, and I would really like feedback, so you can let me know what kind of stuff you would like to see. I think before I start this process, I'm trying to decide which, what would make more sense. All right, well, I think what I will do first, before I do anything else, is I will finish with you these last 2 links that I did not get a chance to change. What happened here was in the first, in the tutorial where I drew out the spirals, I wasn't quite sure what style I wanted, so I just kind of roughed in. I thought I was going for something more Celtic, and then I changed my mind. Because I got to make my life really difficult. So I changed my mind, and now I have to go back and I have to change all of these links so that they're straighter, more angular. And if I'm being honest, that's what's taken the most time in the last, couple of videos. So that's why I kind of did this off screen. I did a lot of it off screen because it was just so much. It can take me a half hour just to do that. So But I wanted to leave a couple so I could show you on screen. I did do a couple in the last YouTube video and a last free Patreon video that's been posted. So, but I just want to kind of go over it again and kind of show you. So I started in the center here, kind of, and I just kind of erased all of these round lines because that's not the look I'm going for. So I don't know if you could see it on camera. I'm erasing them, but I can still see them. So I still know where my lines are, generally speaking. Let's see. So I started in the middle where the interior part of the link is. And I did erase some of my break lines, so I'm just kind of guessing here. This is not an exact science, it's art, so it's okay. And then we're linking up the center. Now, one of the things that's really important is to make sure that all of these, because this diagonal line is the only place where all of the where the thread overlaps. So all of these need to be they need to be more or less parallel with each other so that it looks good. So that's one of the things that we're going to make sure about. We're just going to make sure that any of those lines are parallel with each other, so that the design retains its look. Okay, and we got to go in this where the big loops were, and we got to straighten those loops. This was a process, let me tell you. I kind of wish I had thought about this a little bit more before I started, because I really had to go back and I'm erasing lines, and I'm redoing things, and it's costing me time. And I'm getting frustrated. So I've got one more here. All right. Now, so, and one thing I wanted to make sure of is on the interior, I wanted this line to have a slight angle. So these diagonals that are coming off, I just want it to be, this one to be slightly lower than where it meets up here. And the same thing goes for the top. I want this to be slightly higher than this one here. So we're mirroring what's down the bottom. Just a slight angle, it doesn't have to be anything. All right, and then we'll make sure we go in here and make sure this diagonal is drawn. Let's clean that up. All right. And if you hear me sniffling, I really apologize. It's allergy weather. Oh. Okay. Now we'll do the very last link, and I will be so happy to be done that process. You have no idea. That really, 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 really irritated me that I did that to myself. Because this was not fun having to redo this all over. But having said that, it gives me material to show you that it's not the end of the world when you screw up. You just take a deep breath and keep going. All right, and that's going to be the center. I'm not worried about things being exact, because I feel like that makes it feel less static and more organic anyway. So we're just going to go for it. We're just going to freehand it. I feel like I've been at this all day. I kind of have been at this all day. I'm trying to do a marathon video session today because I have I don't have my own office space, so I have 5 people in the house and 2 cats. So, you know, I don't have a lot of time during the day when there just isn't anybody. Oh, that's sloppy. There isn't anybody up and around and about, and it's very stressful trying to get things done. Quiet stuff is difficult to do, but I get it done. I figure it out. All right. And now we just need to make sure that any parallel lines that we draw are more or less, my camera's kind of in the way here. I'm trying to make sure that's more or less. Let me adjust this a little bit, give that a little bit of breathing room. All right, and then the last one is up here. Hopefully that's, yeah, all right, that looks okay. Oh, no, last one down here. Almost missed that one. That's not right. And that's a little too close. So like I said, I'm really angry at myself for not really putting enough thought into this ahead of time, but I had this thing just totally blew up on me. I thought I was going to throw together a very quick round border tutorial, just a really quick one to just kind of throw in my blog and my video, and this blew up into a 4-part YouTube video series, and then this which will probably be an hour-long Patreon video, and 4 blogs. So it blew up on me, and I have other projects that I'm trying to work on, and it's like, wow, how did this happen? Why did I do this to myself? So, you know, it happens. All right. So I think I got everything more or less where I want it to be. Now I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to erase anything I don't want. Just erase any stray lines that I don't really want. Most of it's going to get blended and covered over anyway, but and don't worry if you start erasing your lines that you drew, because if you know what your design is, you know where they are anyway. I must have pressed extra hard there or something. All right, so we erased our lines, we finished our angular links. We erased as much as we could the background, and I put, because I wanted to fill some negative space, I put little round dots in between the links, because there was a lot of space there and I just kind of wanted something there. The reason why I put myself through this misery of changing the style of the knot in the first place was that while I liked where it was going with the more angular, or the more fluid kind of curvy look, that's what I normally do, and I wanted to kind of step out of my comfort zone a little bit and do something different, but also because I really, really liked the idea of juxtaposing this very linear, very angular spiral design with a very round template, very round border. I like that contrast. That really felt good to me. So I forced myself to put myself through hell to do that. So basically what I wanted to do, because I became fascinated, this was one of the straight border tutorials that I did, and I became very fascinated with the look of this particular one, and I think that's where the idea came from. So that's what we're working on. And by the way, I think all of these you can find in the in Patreon and in YouTube. So the links are in both for the straight border and this round border that we're working on today. All right, so let me put this aside. All right, so one thing that you might want to have on hand, now you're getting to a point. Those of you who have been following me and you're watching the paid version, in the last one I told you, any kind of blank paper will be very useful to help you as you're working on something. When your hand and your arm sit on your work with pencil, charcoal, stuff like that, it smears your work. So it's very helpful to have a piece of paper handy, blank piece of paper, and you can put that on top of your work, and then you can go along your merry way without smudging everything, because pencil and charcoal and things like that, they smudge very easily. So I wanted to talk a little bit before we go any further. I wanted to talk about what you can do with this. One of my Patreon members is working on a table, and she wanted to do a spiral knot on a table. You can do that with that. I've done I've done spiral knots on wood burn plates and plaques. So I've done spiral knots on Celtic design kind of plates and artwork. You can put knotwork design on like mirror frames, decorative trays, decorative plates. There's so many different things. If you have little gift boxes that you find like Hobby Lobby, there's wooden boxes. You can put a round one on the top center of the lid. I think I did that with one of mine. I'm not sure, or maybe I had the idea to do it. But anyway, you can do that. So you can do a lot with these. That's why I use these not just as Celtic artist, but as like I use them with DIY kind of stuff, and I use them in my own Celtic art, wood burned art that I sell. So and my shop link will be in my my about section, my description and all that stuff, right? Okay, so check that stuff out if you like Celtic art. Check out my artwork, and check it out anyway, just so you could see, see what all I do. So you get to know me a little bit better. But let me see. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to take these kinds of designs and give them character, maybe give them depth, and talk about the different mediums that you can use. And I want to give you some resources. So let's first talk about, we have our links here, right? And that's great. We can clean it up. We can clean this up, and that's fine. But it needs more. If it's going to be a work of art, if you're putting it on a plate, maybe you might want to do a little bit more with it. It kind of needs more. What I normally do with stuff like this is I'll put a border in. So why don't I go ahead and do that? I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me first redefine these lines, because they got really kind of So we'll add a little bit more edge to that, or at least the part that I did already. Okay, and then we'll go. So you're starting to see what it is going to look like. Okay. Now what I normally do is I take it like a step further. So I'll take it and let's say we'll do this one like that. I'm going to make it nice and dark. All right, and then maybe I'll do half the width. I'll do like a thinner, half the width of one of these squares. That's why I like grid paper, because you can use the grid paper as a guide. And maybe half the width of one of these squares on the inside. All right, something like that. All right, so it kind of gives it, you know, a little extra something, and I'll show you what else we're going to do with that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about medium. We'll start there. Okay, for this particular project, I'm using pencils, right? So I have a range of pencils here from H. I have HB, 2B, and 4B. But normally, you would want more of a range than that. You'd want from a very light color to a very dark color, and you'd want a wide range so that you can really put in a lot of detail and get a lot of depth out of your drawing. You'd probably want a couple more, maybe one more lighter one, and you know, another dark one, maybe a 6B or an 8B or something like that. I'm not going that far because this is not, I just don't have 2 hours. I don't think you'd want to sit through a 2-hour video of me doing that kind of stuff. But that's something that you would do if you're doing a finished piece for somebody, or if we're, you know, something for yourself that you want to be really detailed. You're going to want a nice range. Whatever your medium is, you need to know what the lightest range is to the darkest. If you're using like gray tones or black and white, so if you're using micron markers, if you're using charcoal, if you're using pencil, like your gray tones, your white, you know, white, black kind of stuff, you're going to want to know what your tonal range is, right? So you're going to want to take all of your, so what I did for this is I took all of my pencils and I started in one corner and made it as dark as I could get it, with as hard a pressure as I could get it. Oops, I have one of my hairs in the shot. And then as I went, I got lighter, you know, lighter and lighter pressure. And then I made sure that I labeled what that was. So you see that I have 12 pencils in here, minus the 4 that I took out that I'm using. I had 12 pencils, ranging from 6H to 6B. And I created myself a chart here that shows me the tonal range so that I can just kind of look at it at a glance. And if I have, if I get stuck and I'm sitting here going, I don't know, you know, what shade I should use for this, this is a good reference. And it's something they kind of teach you in art school anyway. It's something I had to do in art school. Just create a chart so you can just kind of look at it quickly and see what each pencil does, and it will help you kind of make some choices sometimes. And a lot of them are similar, you know, they're very, very similar, in ones next to each other might be very, very similar, which is why you know, sometimes you might want to, instead of using 2 that are next to each other, maybe you pick let's see, like an H and an HB, because they're separated enough, or a B, right? Because they're separated enough, and you'll be able to see that contrast. And then maybe you'll pick, a couple other colors that are also separated by a couple. So that gives you a nice contrast. So when you're drawing still life and things like that, they kind of teach you that kind of stuff. So this is really useful. Another thing that's useful to do, I started doing this for myself because I do wood burning, but I wanted to have this because I draw the picture before I wood burn it. So I kind of wanted to have some textures. I'm not done yet. I still have a few spots that I need to fill, but I'm doing art pieces, or I will be finishing art pieces that have aspects of bricks, stones, wood, grasses, bushes. So I drew bushes in a couple different styles to kind of figure out what I wanted. Trees in a couple different styles of, a tree itself. Now I got to go back and draw some bushes and flower petals and leaves and fur and stuff. Well, I don't draw fur and feathers very much. I'm horrible with fur, by the way. I'm just horrible with it. But and then this is another thing that you can do. You can figure out, this is the kind of stuff that you would put in a background, or you would use to do shading to create depth. And I just tried all different kinds of things that I thought would be interesting to me, different kinds of lines, line patterns and things like that, just to kind of have a reference for myself to see what I might like to do and how I might like to do it. Now, this is fine for pencil drawing, but you have to have, whatever medium you're using, you would need to have something set up with that medium as well. So this is fine for my drawing, but I also have stuff for my wood burning so that I can kind of get an idea of what my wood burning tool does. I don't have any of that on hand. I should have thought of that before this, but you'll be seeing more of that anyway, because I'm going to be doing a huge amount of my wood burning projects later on this month, either the end of April or beginning of May. I'll be pulling all that out. I'll be finishing those projects, so you'll be seeing more of this kind of stuff. But I just wanted to make sure you guys had that little tip, because it's, it'll help you decide what you're doing in the background. And this book here, I bought this book in college, and I can tell you how to draw what you see. It is on Amazon. If I can remember, I'll put the link in the description. I'm an Amazon affiliate. I'm just putting that out there. I probably will include an Amazon affiliate link for this. So it means, I'll get paid a penny or two, for whatever purchase is made. But this book is awesome. It teaches you all kinds of, this perspective, which is awesome. Round things are my Achilles heel. I struggle with round, but you can learn how to do tonal stuff. There's more tonal stuff. So this is a good book to have. How to Draw What You See, Rudy Durena. There might be a more updated version of this. Also, if you're really interested in Celtic knots specifically, this author is awesome, Aidan Meehan. I have a couple of books of his, Treasury of Celtic Knots and the Celtic Design book. Again, I will have Amazon affiliate links probably for that. Amazing stuff. A little complicated. I would not call this necessarily beginner stuff. But if you want to take a dive in, there's all kinds of... Some of it can be beginner stuff. It's easy enough for a beginner to understand. Some of it, not so much. So I want to throw that out there as something you can use. pyrography, wood burning, and this is kind of what I was talking about, what they have on the front cover of this book. Experimenting and having a template set aside that has all your different like dots and line work and different pressures and stuff like that. So this is a good book to have too if you're into pyrography. And this is a good book for a beginner, kind of for beginner. They kind of give you some, again, I don't know if this is for beginner. I wouldn't say this is for beginner, but it's good. It's a good reference book. So those are a few resources that I think you might like. What were we talking about? Okay, we were talking about mediums. So we covered pyrography, so pyrography, like wood burning, is kind of similar to drawing in pencil, only you cannot erase it, and you can't blend. So you gotta use the tools that you have, and you have to learn how to use those tools and the different pressures and the different tips and things like that for that. You can use micron pens. So if you got a steady hand and you're not afraid, to, let it loose, you can use a range of tips that go from this fat tip to, which is like, what is this, 12, to like 005, which is like this really fine tip. So I have like a whole range of them. So you can use micron tips. I have Prismacolor colored pencils. I have a huge kit with colored pencils. You can use watercolor. So if you're going color, so that's the next thing. The thing with micron pens and pyrography is that you can't erase either one of them. So you got to be kind of sure-handed, and you got to really know this. That's where it's going to be really important to have something off to the side that where you practice your pen strokes, and stuff like that, and how hard you press and things like that. Because and the one thing about these that you will notice is that you can define the thickness and the thinness of your lines, and that can be an amazing way to create interest and depth in your artwork. So using micron pens is a really good tool. So we're talking, we need to move on to color for a moment. I'm not going to spend too much time with color because I don't use color too much for my stuff. Occasionally I'll pull out my color pencils, but things like colored pencils and watercolors, acrylic paints, stuff like that, you can definitely use them. It's good to know, maybe have a color wheel handy so that you can see. If you're using bright colors, you kind of want all your colors to have that same kind of saturation. You might be using colors that are called, tones, which are have more of a gray or black in them. So they're more of a grayish, like your mauve and things like that have more of a gray kind of tint, gray tone to them. Your tints are going to be the maybe a little lighter, like they have white mixed into them, like a light colored pink or something like that. You need to just be mindful of whether you're using unsaturated colors or saturated colors. Look on the color wheel and see if you can find. Usually if you have a color that's on one end of the color wheel, if you look to the opposite side, you'll see a color that's called a complementary color. And when you put them together, they may seem like they clash, but they actually bring, they complement each other. They look good together. So like green and red for Christmas, you know, purple and yellow, that kind of stuff, with blue and yellow. So learn a little bit of color theory, maybe if you're using colors. Remember that dark colors and dark shades will make things look smaller. Brighter, lighter colors and shades will make things look larger. Darker things also recede into the background, while lighter colors sort of come forward to your eye. So more or less, that's kind of the rule. So that leads me into the next bit here. So coming back to what we're sort of working on here, I'm trying to figure out what kind of pencil I want to use. I think I'll use this one, this HB. And we are going to go into the background here, and we're just gonna kind of add in just a touch of this pencil shading all the way in these in-between spaces. It's negative space. I want the negative space to be darker than the knot. I want the knot to seem like it's coming forward. I want it to stand out like it does here, right? So I'm going to make the background, and I could have made this background much darker. I just didn't want to make a mess of my page, but and you know, you don't have to worry too much about your line direction, but I try and keep it all the same, go in the same direction. The harder you press with your pencil, the more of an issue that will become, because what we're going to do is we're going to blend these pencil marks. And the harder you press your pencil, the less they blend, or the harder it is to blend. So, and the lighter you press, the easier it is to blend. And the less you'll see lines. So we're just going in here, just like we're coloring, right? I'm going in here, and we are just doing a little bit of this. And my vision, which I hope works out. I'm pretty sure it will. I've done something similar to this before, so I'm sure it will. Let me just get a little bit of this done. So like I said, I'm working on other projects. I don't just do artwork like this. I do faux floral designs. I make handcrafted candle holders. I make fairy houses. So I have 2 beautiful new fairy houses that are almost done, but they're sitting off to the side waiting for me to finish these tutorials. But one of them is a half-timbered, like medieval-looking half-timbered fairy house, and the other one is a castle tower. And they're hard work, but I'm enjoying the hell out of the results, because they really look amazing. So you will see those. Probably one of my next videos will be those. I think I'm just going to do a behind the scenes video where I turn on the camera and just kind of let you see me doing some of the stonework on the castle, which hasn't been easy, but I think I've figured out what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to be mindful of where my lines are. Alright. Yeah, I've been actually, what time is it now? Oh my God, it's almost 3:30. I've been at this since 8 o'clock this morning, trying to do videos, try to get all these videos out for you guys, because like I said, I have to get these done. I have 4 YouTube videos that are also going to go on Patreon, and I have this video that is for Patreon paid members. Then I have 4 blogs that go with the videos, and yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I have to do like a zillion things at one time. If somebody can explain it to me, I don't know. Either I have ADHD or something, I don't know, but although I understand it's sort of something that creative people do. They have to have a zillion projects going at once, and sometimes you're working on something and you put it away for a while, and sometimes it's a long while before you get back to it, and you have like half a dozen of those kind of projects sitting in a closet somewhere. That's me. But I'm forcing myself to get some stuff done because these are all really cool projects that I really want to get out there. They need life. I need to give them life. All right. This is actually enjoyable, but when you know you got to get something done. Although I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself lately. A lot of pressure. I've really been pushing myself to get some stuff done. I have a lot of health problems. I mean, to be honest with you, I have back and I have degenerated discs in my neck and my upper back. And I have problems with my shoulder, my right shoulder, which is my drawing hand, unfortunately. So when I'm done here, I'm going to be on the couch processing videos and icing my back and my neck. So unfortunately, that's my life now. And then as if that's not a big enough problem to deal with, I've had non-stop dental problems for the past couple of years. It's been insane. Never had dental problems at all in my life. And suddenly in the last couple of years, I just can't get enough of the dentist. I don't know what the hell's wrong. Probably because I'm getting old. Okay, so we went and we shaded in everything, so it's all shaded. Now the next task is to go in and smooth all that out, which I may not do all of that on camera. I may actually turn the camera off, and I'll do a few of them, and then I'll turn the camera off and fill in the rest, and then I'll come back because I want to be mindful of your time because it's just repetitive stuff. But before I turn the camera off, I just I made these circles and I didn't finish the thought, did I? Okay, so I think I would like to use, where is my H? I thought I had an H pencil. Here it is, right in front of me. I'm looking right at it. Senior moment. All right, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to point out is when I did this part, I was kind of experimenting with texture. So I kind of tried to do some stippling to make it look a little bit like maybe stone type. So my idea was that these outer borders would have the same kind of an effect. And I'm just going to take you along with me for the ride. Let's see if it's just random. Just see if I like. I've done something similar to before, so I think I'm going to like it. I think I like it. I'm looking at it already. I'm thinking I like it. I've gotten really fast at stippling because it's one of my favorite things to do. I remember doing it as a kid in art class, and I loved it. I have a question for you guys. Maybe we can start a conversation in the chat. What is your first memory of art class, an art class in school? Or your first memory of being surrounded by art? So I'll tell you my story. My mom, well, first of all, my mom was an artist. She did all kinds of stuff. She dabbled in all kinds of stuff. She dabbled in music, and she painted, and she drew, and she did stained glass and etched glass, stuff like that. So she had talent. She just didn't do anything with it. But so I guess that's where I get it from. But my first real, I don't know, I guess my first real what's the word I'm looking for? When I was first like blown away by the idea of art was in first grade. Walked in to my first ever art class with an art teacher, and that was like 70, maybe 76, 77, 1977, 76. So, of course, the art teacher, typical art teacher, bohemian, curly, frizzy hair, long flowing clothes. She was very hippie looking. But the smell of the paint, that smell of that paint from that classroom, I can still smell it. And it's not that it's a pleasant smell, but it was like ooh, that's an interesting kind of a smell. That hit me, and it never left. And the thing is, I don't paint because I don't know, maybe I don't paint like on paintings, in other words. And I consider myself to not be good at that kind of stuff, although I've never really tried. But just that smell of that paint was like, yeah, that's the kind of person I want to be. That right there. The smell of that paint. I don't understand why that hit me like it did, but it did. But that teacher was like this hippie, bohemian kind of typical artsy kind of person for that time. We had guinea pigs in cages, and she was reading us Greek mythology out of a book, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that was out of all the classes that I had, that one hit me. It really hit something deep in me. I don't know. And probably because my mom she passed, but she was creative. So I think I like it. So I think the idea here was that we wanted it to look like kind of like stone and look like the border and the knot were kind of a little higher than the background. So I think that's what I was going for. I like it so far. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to now switch the camera off, and I'll come back when I've blended. Let me just blend a couple while I'm on film with you, because I didn't do that. A little scatterbrained. So you want to, when you're blending, you want to go right up to the line. Just go right up to the line. We're going to go over these lines and redefine them, so don't worry. Just try not to go into the knot or off, you know, off the best you can. If you can use one of these blenders with a smaller point, you know, that might be better. And I have one. I just like using this one. I don't know why. All right, so yeah, we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go like right up to the line. Go into the corners, make sure you get like the white bits, cover all those white bits. So you don't want them really showing, so you wanna, as much as possible, you wanna be as close to the edges and the lines. And you see how it just takes the pencil and it just smooths it all out. Gives it a nice smooth look. And we'll add texture with the stippling, so we're not worried about. I'll do maybe one or two of these links, and then I'll switch off for a few and get this done. Here we go. I'm actually surprised my cat hasn't jumped up here yet. He'll do that sometimes. He'll jump up here and start walking around while I'm trying to work on things. I have two cats. They think they own the place. But they're adorable. I can't refuse them anything. They're adorable. All right. We called them Smokey and the Bandit. Smokey because, well, he's got smoky fur. And the other one is Bandit because when he was little, he liked to steal things. And like steal pens off the table and stuff. He doesn't do that so much anymore, but he's gotten old and lazy. Just like me, old and lazy. They follow me around everywhere. They're like my shadows. I can't get rid of them. I go in the bathroom and they got to follow me in. It's like a potty party. We have a potty party every morning. All right, so you see how I'm doing this. We're just going in and we're smoothing things out. And it's just repetitive. You're just going over and over and over again, and you're just trying to get into every nook and cranny. Every nook and cranny, and just trying to push that lead into the white areas so that it looks smooth. I've only used charcoal maybe once or twice in college. I absolutely hated charcoal. I am not a fan of charcoal. But, you know, my son, wow, he does pieces in charcoal that'll blow your mind. I can't believe how much he's also an artist. I have three sons and 3 grown sons, and my youngest ended up being an artist. We knew he was going to be an artist right from the get-go, because when he was 3 or 4, I was in college, so I would nap on the floor for a couple hours while he played in his pen, and he'd put together pieces. He like tape things together to make three-dimensional art stuff, and it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, yeah, he's going to be an artist. And sure enough, he's going to school for graphic design. All right, so why don't I stop this video right here, and then I'll come back when this is done. I'll stop. What I'll do off camera is I'll finish blending, and then I'll finish these. I'll close up these circles, and then when we come back, we can do some texturizing, and then we'll redefine our lines and stuff. So that's basically what's left is to add in some of the texturizing, add in some of the shadows, and redefine the lines. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off for a few minutes. I'm going to do a few things off camera, and then I'll turn it back on, and I'll say some last words. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. If you hear stuff going on in the background, I apologize. It's shower going. Somebody came home from school, and they're grabbing a shower, and it's a whole saga around here. 5 people in the house, and there's like literally no point of time during the 24 hours in a day where I can have absolute quiet for more than a half hour. So anyway, while I was off camera, I went in and I blended all that, and I finished the circle, and I've cleaned up the edges from the border that we made. And I think now, and I also started cleaning up the lines, just because I figured this video is already going to get long, so might as well get as much done off camera as I can. So I'm just going with a darker pencil. This is a 2B, and I'm just trying to define the lines. I'm doing a horrible job there. Wow. All right. I kind of want to clean that up. That's not good. That's what's called being in a hurry. All right, I'm gonna do my paper here so I don't smudge stuff. All right. Not that I'm in a hurry to get off, you know, and get this done. It's just that I don't want you guys to have to deal with a whole bunch of noise in the background. So I'm trying to get this done as quickly as I can before everybody decides to come down, turn on the TV, turn on their phones without earbuds, and, you know, all that. Dig in the fridge for food and all that happy stuff. Like I said, I have 3 grown boys. No, they're not boys anymore, I guess. They're men. Young men. So my babies have grown up. They're 25, 24. One will be 24 on Friday. And the other one is 20, the youngest. So yeah, some of these lines, as I'm noticing as I'm going, some of them are wonky, but that's okay, because it's sort of those imperfections are what show the artist's hand and gives it personality and that kind of stuff. So it's okay. You know, if you really want this to be like absolutely perfect, you're going to have to pull out some tools. You know, you're going to have to pull out a straight edge, a ruler. You're going to have to mark different guidelines to make sure that everything is perfect. And we're not doing that today. That's not a thing today. I feel like this project is big enough. I don't feel like we need to do that. All right. And I really just want, you know, going over these lines is just, it's just about make it stand out from the background. Not sure what might happen there. But anyway. Let's see. Okay. Now, having said that, I really wish I had planned this out a little bit more, because I hadn't intended it to be this way. I had just intended it to be a really quick tutorial. So I didn't plan on, you know, doing all of this different kinds of stuff. Just go ahead and blend that again. All right. So when I changed my mind to make it a different kind of style, I really did create a lot of work for myself. Clean that up. And now that part, that little bit there that I erased, you just go in and just reblend it. It's not a biggie. Not a big deal. All right, this one I must have pressed extra dark when I did this one. No, I did it already. That's why it's already dark. The glare of the lights, sometimes I can't see the lines. All right, there we go. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give these depth. So we're going to go ahead in and all along the diagonal where the lines overlap, the ones that are underneath, we're just going to give them a little bit of shadow. So it's just throw a few lines down. Doesn't have to be a lot because these are tiny, thin lines. So anything that's underneath is going to get, a shadow so that it looks like it's underneath the one on top. So while I'm here, because I'm going to be signing off in a few minutes here, just don't forget to join me on YouTube, like, share, subscribe on YouTube, because I'm trying to build that up a little bit. Check out my blog. Sign up for my newsletter. You can go on my website and on my contact page. You can sign up for my newsletter. And every time I do new stuff, new tutorials and new DIYs and sometimes new products, sale events, things like that, if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get notified of that. So you can go ahead and do that. And of course, follow me on socials. You know, say hi on socials. Let me know. Let me know you're there. A lot of crickets on socials. I'm not happy about it. All right, so I put in the pencil marks. Now I just want to kind of go into each one of those and just blend it a little bit. Keep this pencil handy. We're going to go back and we're going to just fix a couple of things when we're done. So don't have to be complicated. The thicker your lines are, though, the more complicated your shadows are going to be. The bigger they're going to be, probably, or the sharper they'll be. These are just tiny lines, so we don't need a lot going on. Oh, sniffles. Okay, and again, I'm going to turn this camera off, I think, just so I can go through the rest of it. But before I do that, you're going to take your pencil and just redefine the lines where they overlap, just because when you started blending, you soften those lines. If you redefine them, then they'll start coming off the page again. Aye, what is that? What is that? What'd I do? All right, I'll have to fix that, but anyway. So just where the overlaps are, just redefine the lines. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off for a few minutes, and I'm going to do all that so you don't have to sit here and watch me do tedious stuff. And then I'll turn it back on. We'll do the stippling and then a couple final words, and that will be done. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I finished all of that. The next thing I think we're going to do, I'm going to grab my H pencil and my 4B pencil, and we're going to do some final stuff here. So the white stuff, we're going to do the H. I'm going to do some stippling in the H. So we're just going to go all the way around, just like we did on this side. And we're just going to really kind of random. We're just looking for like a light colored stone kind of effect. You know, we can have a few little swishes in there, here and there. That's fine. We don't want it to be perfect. We want it to look a little rough. I don't know what it is about stippling, but I like stippling. Something strangely satisfying about it. Okay. And then we are almost done with this piece. You can get as elaborate as you like with it. You can add more border strips, you know, thin lines around the border, and, you know, like staggered border. I would invite you to play around with different kinds of texturing techniques, make it your own. I'm playing with the idea of putting these things together. I got to learn how to make them in Illustrator, though. I don't know how to make them in Illustrator, but if I can learn how to make them in Illustrator, I may put together like either a tutorial workbook or a coloring book or something like that. So I'm toying with that idea of doing something like that. Might be interesting. All right, so there's the border done. That's coming along really nice. Now I just want to I'll use the same pencil, and I'll go along the white. I don't need a lot because I don't want to muddy it up too much. Just a mark here and there is all we need on it. Don't even have to be that careful. A mark here and there will give the illusion that it's the same stone as this. Yeah. So going to finish these loops. And then when I'm done doing the threads, then we're going to go back. And we're just going to hit the background with a darker pencil. And then the piece will be done. Or as done as mine's going to get today. I can't do any more today. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. But if I did, well, I'll find it. I'll find it later. Okay, almost there. So let me know what you think of this. Definitely let me know if you tried it. Shout out to Mina, I think. If I made a mistake there, I apologize. I'm not great with names, but she says she's doing a table. I'd love to see the results. That would be awesome. That would be so fun. Thought crossed my mind a time or two too. I have a table in my living room that definitely needs its top redone. All right, and we're going to call those threads done. And we're going to go into the background. And we're just going to plop some darker ones into the background. Into all these, into all this negative space. Just to make it look like there's stone there. I'm just going to go all the way around, yeah. Make my life a little easier. That way I don't have to keep track. I can go quick and I don't have to worry about forgetting. So what do you think? Do you think that the light part of it stands out enough? Is there anything you would do to this to make it different? Thinking I may do this technique with a Celtic cross piece that I'm working on. I'm wood burning a Celtic cross, and I'm thinking that this is just what I need to make it look like a stone cross. So I can maybe consider this practice, right, for that. I guess the universe was telling me something. All right, we're just going to... I mean, in the interest of time, I'm just flying through this, but you can get really complex with your designs. You can texturize your threads in a whole lot of different ways with different kinds of lines. You can double up the lines, you can triple up the lines. You can make them really fat. And this is only one spiral knot design with one break design. There's so many different spiral designs out there. This is only one, so I'm sure there will be more tutorials like this with different kinds of spiral knots. This is just the one I've been working on lately. And with that said, this piece I'm calling done. Okay, so, oops, There we go. There's the finished piece. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it wasn't too long. Now I got to spend the rest of the day editing a couple of videos. So I'm going to sign off. I want to thank you, the paid patrons. I'm giving you a huge thank you because you're going to help me build something, something meaningful. And I'd like to maybe build a community with it. And I'm really honored by your support. Okay? So until next time, I will just say with my normal ending, happy trolling. Bye-bye.